Hi, welcome back to our weekly webinar series. My name is Aubrey Janik. I'm a senior consultant here at Big Sky Franchise Team. And this week we are accompanied by Jim Taylor with PH Creative. He's going to be going through and talking about driving traffic to your website, specifically whenever it comes to hiring and things like that. So I am going to go ahead and give Jim the floor. He's going to be sharing his screen and hope you guys enjoy the presentation. Jim, you can take it away.
Brilliant, thank you. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for having me. So I guess I'll dive straight in. So Managing Director of Happy Dance. We are the provider of career sites. Today I'm going to obviously focus on the importance of career sites, talk a little bit about our approach, give you some tactics in terms of helping you find or bring candidates to your career site organically from things like Google, and also then think about how you can personalize the experience for candidates when they come to your career site. So yeah, just a quick little bit about us. So we are Happy Dance, part of PH Creative. We focus on career sites, but PH Creative is a full service employer brand agency where we do employer branding and recruitment marketing. And I specifically run one of our divisions, which is for career sites. We work with a lot of huge brands, just a few of them, and we're also recognized for our award-winning solution as well and our design. But yeah, let's get straight in. So what's the importance of a career site and why do you need one? So I've just got a couple of points here that I'll quickly go through, but I guess it's, ultimately it's about attracting talent to a destination where you can showcase who you are, talk about your culture and your values, and showcasing those job opportunities, being able to show candidates that they're a good fit for you as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about actually filtering out the candidates that you don't want. Allowing them to apply on the career site. Now, you do see career sites that still don't have that application for candidates to be able to apply within the career site. Obviously, showcasing the actual job opportunities that they have and how they fit and align to those roles. Being transparent as well. So again, I'll be talking a little bit about the type of content that we propose to customers about that they should be putting on their career site, to be really truthful and honest. So at PH, we talk about always selling the truth. That's our employer brand philosophy. And obviously from a cost perspective, of a career site can save you money when it comes to talent attraction. A lot of our customers spend a lot of revenue on things like paid media and job boards, and some of the tactics I'm going to show you will help you attract that type of talent organically. So when it comes to designing and building career sites, our approach to that is obviously thinking about the candidate experience, and we talk about experience by design. We like to think about how we make candidates feel. So we always use this term, which is people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And we try to think about the experiences that we give candidates when they come to that destination. So this is what we believe when it comes to experience by design. These are our our pillars and what we believe in when we come to create that type of experience for a candidate. Now, when we think about candidates, we think of them as personas. So if you're not familiar with the term personas, it's identifying a type of profile, which is your candidate. We help customers actually create personas if they don't have them. Some do, and they present them to us. And essentially a persona is like, what type of team do they work in? What type of roles do they do? So that's the role type. But what are their pain points and what's the content types? What type of content would they be interested in when they come to the career site or even via social channels? And then what is that type of messaging that we need to present to the candidate that aligns to your employer brand and your EVP, so that it resonates with them and connects with them and helps them engage. So we always start with the persona. And as I say, sometimes our customers don't have those, and sometimes we can help them produce those. So before we begin creative, getting the crayons out and making something look really pretty, we start with the research. We look at your personas. We look at how we would map their journeys through the career site. So again, thinking about their pain points and the messaging and the types of content that we believe that they would be interested in, and what those stages would look like before they apply. And then we map that out into a full sitemap architecture when it comes to the whole career site. So we've considered all the different journeys and different pages and content they may look at, and bring all of that together with all the personas. Once we go from sitemap, then we obviously go into creative, and that's where we can really bring the career site look and feel to life, but also focus on specific personas as well. So mapping out the pages based off what we believe their journeys would be. So as mentioned, our approach when it comes to creative and mapping out these journeys, ultimately it's about bringing the right talent to your career site and using that content, including those jobs, to be able to filter out the candidates that you don't want. So we use this phrase, repel the many and compel the few, which comes from our CEO's book, Give and Get, which he co-authored with his partner, Rachel Marshall. If you've not read that, it's an amazing book, go and check that out. But that is our employer brand philosophy that we bring to every career site, whether a customer uses us for employer brand or not. Now, when we talk about bringing candidates to your career site, we obviously think about search. So how do we get you visible on Google? So we always think about the persona, like what do candidates do first? Everybody uses Google. That's where job searches start. They start on Google, and that's where the candidate begins to look for careers based off whether it's a specific job title or a skill in a destination. And what they're usually presented with is things that Google want to do is keep them on page one of Google. So they'll present them with Google for Jobs, obviously job board content, but rich snippets as well. So these sort of people also ask things that you may see in Google where to drop down with extra content. These are called rich snippets. This is where Google is trying to give you the answer without taking you to that destination, if they can keep you here. So they're the types of things that we think about when it's like when a candidate comes to Google, what are they searching and how are we going to leverage this in terms of like bringing the candidate to you? Something that we always often get asked by customers is like, why aren't our jobs ranking? So in most cases, when we build a career site and we pull those jobs in from an ATS system, those jobs don't live long enough. They get filled and they get removed from the ATS, and then they're removed from the actual career site. So they don't have the opportunity to build that keyword relevancy in terms of like building keywords and giving you domain authority to help you rank. So a candidate searching for a specific role may never find your job because it's just not strong enough on its own. So our approach, our strategy is thinking about like content clusters to support jobs. So if you look at, I'm going to use an example here with Amazon. So if you were to think of jobs like products, when you think of products on Amazon, if you were to search something like Beats wireless headphones as an example, there's not just the product pages. There's lots of different types of content pieces, landing pages that support those products. So here's some examples where you've got landing pages about Beats, and then you've got landing pages about those specific types of Beats, and then other different types of search filters and queries as well. So there's lots of landing pages that live forever, evergreen pages. So whether those products go off shelf and new products come to market, those pages are always alive, and that helps it build domain authority, and it won't lose any SEO ranking. So if you were to go with that approach, I guess the first place to start before you start thinking about those types of pages to support your jobs, you need to think about what the candidate does to start with. As we mentioned, like they'll always start with Google. So if you were to do that based off certain roles that you're looking for to hire, those hard to fill roles or those evergreen jobs, if you were to actually do that within Google and act as the persona and think about their search intent, like what's their goal, then you will get a lot of information from Google. As you start to search, you'll start to see the different types of recommendations that Google will offer, as well as what also people ask within those rich snippets. There's going to be loads of great information in there that you could potentially take in terms of keywords and information that you could repurpose, and then think about the keywords that are used in related search. Now, this is a free and easy way to do this. A more expensive approach would be having SEO managers with specific SEO tools to be able to do deeper keyword research, but this is a simple way to get started. And then the ultimate goal is obviously to create these types of pages. So here's an example of a persona landing page. What we've done here is we've thought about all the different ingredients, the anatomy of the page that would engage the candidate and tell them everything they need to know about what it's like to do this role, this job in this location. So you can see we've heavily weighted the H1 tags, the titles around that keyword, that search intent. Then we start to educate the candidate about like why join your organization, what's your vision and your mission, but then start to talk to them about like the day in the life, the authentic storytelling. So using things like video, we partner with companies like Culture HQ, where they've got these great products that you can create these video stories really easily to show authentic content versus a marketing manager writing quotations from whoever works in your organization. And then talk about the give and the get, as I mentioned with the book, which is our EVP, is what do they get in return for what they give? So things like benefits, could be things like unlimited holidays or healthcare packages or commission or whatever that may be. It's not general benefits. You're being more specific to that actual role. Obviously showcasing the jobs, and then the FAQs. FAQs are where you're going to help eventually appear in those rich snippets within Google. But the FAQs do a number of things. They educate the candidates because they want to ask these questions. So you're going to save your hiring manager's time. So if you think about that, it's a time saving, but then all of that information there is great for SEO. As I say, that would hopefully help you get visibility on Google. And then you've got to think about the key call to actions. So whether that's applying for the job or signing up for a talent community with, let's say, for example, with our partner Beamery with their CRM system, or just call to actions to other landing pages, as I mentioned, content clusters. So it might be landing pages about a specific location, what's it like to work and live in this location, what's it like to work in this specific team. So that's a great example of creating a landing page that's going to live forever, whether those jobs are always on or not. One thing that I just mentioned there, those authentic stories, we always highly recommend using our platform anyway, from a blog perspective, of creating those day in the life pieces of content, get to meet this individual or hear their story. There's two things. It's similar to the FAQs there. What you're doing is you're educating the candidates in like, this is what it is really like to do my job in a day-to-day in this location, in this team, and these are the benefits, and this is what my 9 to 5 looks like. But then obviously you've created lots of great content there that will hopefully help you from an organic keyword perspective, from SEO perspective. And then once you begin to build out lots of those employee stories related to those personas, once you start deep linking and interlinking those pages, that creates the content cluster, and that's what is better for SEO. So I thought I'd show you an example of one of our customers who has used the same tactic. They built a landing page for a specific persona or a specific role, which was production and skilled trade jobs in Spring Hill. So you can see there, I've just taken some screen grabs of the parts of the page, the anatomy of the page, of all those ingredients we've just talked about. Obviously the jobs, the benefits, opportunity, talent community signups, etc., etc. This page, when searched in Google, is number one. Apart from obviously Google for Jobs, they are number one. So you can see them right below the Google for Jobs there. On the right-hand side, you'll see a little bit of a zoomed out view, but they are number one, beating the likes of Indeed and all those other job boards. Now, when we actually look at that specific page from an analytics perspective, since they actually created that page, I think it's been live for about 6 months, they've seen an improvement in traffic overall, well, specifically on that page of 24%, an increase in users of 19%, and an increase of applications for those specific roles by 28%. An interesting number that we didn't put here was that landing page is the 7th most visited page. It's in number 7 in terms of all the pages within their career site, and it's a big career site. So it just shows that when you're creating that type of content that's very relevant to a specific persona, it's got a better chance of being more relevant and hitting the spot. Okay, so you've built out these landing pages for these specific personas, but now you need to think about when they do come to these pages, some of these personas might might return, or they might not actually visit these pages to start with. They may come to your career site, but you may want to get them to those pages. So you need to think about, how do you actually influence their user journey? Now, we've obviously talked about mapping those journeys out and creating a great sitemap to allow them to easily flow throughout the website. But there's techniques that we use within our platform to be able to influence them, be able to drive them to those specific pages, or at least show them content that's relevant to them. So as mentioned here, our platform enables them to do that. And our platform as a learning engine as well, an AI engine, which means that as the candidate goes through the site and looks at specific content like jobs, team pages, location pages, blog articles, our platform will continually build their persona and then begin to present content to them that's more relevant. And it's frictionless as well, so we don't have to ask them questions. We just observe the pages that they look at. And if they decide that they were obviously looking at London-based roles as an example, but obviously found a great opportunity in a completely different country like Chicago, then our personalization will begin to change its recommendations for content, because it can recognize the persona is beginning to take more of an interest in a different location. So yeah, so we use AI to be able to do that for those types of content. So again, coming back to personalization isn't anything new. If we come back to e-commerce and come back to Amazon, obviously, searching and looking at Beats wireless headphones again, what you begin to see as a second-time visitor within Amazon is you're just flooded by those adverts. You're presented with recommendations based on customers who browse those products. And if you go to search straight away, the first thing it recommends is the things that you've just been looking at. So it's using personalization to give you an experience to make it easier for you to find what you're looking for. And that's what we try to do within our platform. So here's just some basic examples. So what you'll see on the far left-hand side here is like a first-time visitor example of the way teams and locations may be laid out on a homepage as an example. But in the middle here, what you're seeing after the candidate has interacted with this career site, so they've looked at specific jobs or articles or pages, is that the IT team has become more of a focus, and then it suggests the other teams, and we're able to pull in other bits of content from those specific landing pages. So what we're doing there is making more of a focus of what we're interested in. You can see in our content management system, we make it really easy for our customers to be able to manage those settings as well, to switch that personalization on or off. Similarly with jobs. So as a first-time visitor, you're going to see latest jobs in a chronological order from the ATS. But as soon as you begin to interact and start to look at those jobs, favorite those jobs, and see content that's relevant, it's going to say, hey, here's jobs for you. And these are the jobs that we think you're most interested in based off your behaviors. Again, we can enable our customers. We do enable our customers to be able to tailor those messages and be able to switch on that personalization on or off. Similarly with the blog engine as well. So I've mentioned creating those employee stories, those day in the life pieces of content, or you may want to talk about recruitment events as an example. We have the ability to enable you to tag those different types of content for the personas. So if the candidate looks at certain jobs or certain landing pages, when they come back to those jobs, we can show them those blog articles that are more aligned to what they're interested in, to educate them. And then finally, we have a bit of magic where we have specific content that is only visible to specific personas. So as an example, this content block, as we call it on the homepage, is invisible to everybody as a first-time visitor. But once our personalization recognizes that they are a specific persona, so it could be, as you can see in the bottom right here, we set a criteria of, if the candidate is interested in jobs and content for the IT team and the Chicago location, then we can set a strength to say, if they've looked at 3 pieces of content, then show that content block. So that content block is only visible to those personas. And it means that our customers can build out variants of different content blocks for different types of personas. So this brings us back to this page. This is where you can create those pages, these evergreen landing pages, to be able to build, to influence, or at least convert, sorry, to convert for those specific roles. And then we use the personalization to bring them to those destinations. So this would be a key ingredient that I would say that you should add to your career site if you don't have them, if you only have jobs. So key takeaways, start with the personas. So think about your audience. Think about the candidates who are coming to your career site, or at least the candidates you want to attract, sorry, in terms of the jobs that you have. What are the types of things that they're interested in? Where are they on social? What types of content do they consume? And what are their pain points? And how do you communicate to them with the messaging and even tone of voice? So when you start with the personas, then you can begin to map out their journeys through the website and build a sitemap and architecture to create a plan for content that will resonate with that audience. Then do the research. So once you identify your personas and you map out those sitemaps and how you're going to communicate with them, in terms of the content, do the research. Again, if you don't have the expertise or the tools to do this when it comes to SEO, you can do it in a basic way by just acting as a candidate. Go with that search intent of actually searching those types of roles in those locations, see what the results are, and grab out those little bits of ingredients that you could repurpose or take influence from. And then create those pages then. So build those pages out for those specific personas, put them live, and hopefully they will begin to rank in Google based on their search terms. And then finally, if you have the technology to be able to do it, try and create those unique candidate experiences by leveraging things like personalization and AI to influence their journey, being able to surface different content when a candidate comes back to your career site, and show them content that they are more interested in, and ultimately drive them to a landing page, which will help them convert much higher. Thank you very much. If there's any questions or answers, any questions, I'm happy to answer.
And if you have any questions and you're not able to, you can do it in the chat. You can put the questions, or you can also, and then I can ask the question on your behalf as well. I do have a question. This is Aubrey with Big Sky. So whenever you see, companies or entrepreneurs, small business owners trying to use kind of more of the modern mainstream methods of recruiting people, what are some of the key mistakes that you see often? And I guess how does and I know that you went through it through this presentation, but what are some of the kind of bullet point ways that you and your team can help mitigate those mistakes that people oftentimes make?
I guess when it's for smaller organizations, most of them will have just a careers page. So it's just one landing page, and then there's a call to action to an ATS system. So I think in terms of trying to educate the candidates, it doesn't do a lot because it's quite generic and very top level. We tend to build dedicated career sites, so it's careers company name, whoever that is. So it's a separate destination. So if you're able to do that, if you're able to have a dedicated career site versus your consumer corporate website, that would be my recommendation, because of the reason is because if you're, and as I mentioned, a lot of our customers spend a lot on paid media, and we try to help them with search tactics to get them visible on Google organically. So the idea there is what we're trying to achieve is we're trying to bring them to a destination where all that investment in paid media isn't lost. Because when we see companies or small organizations using lots of paid media to drive traffic to that landing page, if it's on a corporate website, there's a huge risk of losing them. So they just may wander off throughout the website and lose their way, maybe click an article somewhere, maybe go off to a different website. But if you're taking them to a career site, one, the user journeys are specifically for them, and the content is just for them, and the tone of voice is for them. We see sometimes, and even with larger organizations, to be fair, a bit of a mix of these are our products, and this is our culture and our diversity and equity and inclusion and CSR. Like there's a little bit of a mix there, but they're two different audiences. So I'd say that is, I believe, and this is my belief, but I believe that is a mistake. I think it should be a separate website. It needs to be a different destination because it's a different audience.
Very helpful. Thank you. And then you kind of alluded to it briefly with that answer, but what is the, what are the types of businesses that benefit most from having a career site? Like, do you see a lot of, like retail or food type businesses where they're hiring more hourly workers, or do you see do you see that benefiting those types of hires, or do you see it more on like the corporate side where somebody's going to be getting a corporate job 9 to 5 with benefits type of thing?
It's a good question. I mean, we work with Domino's in the US, so they've obviously got 25,000 plus requisitions. It's Domino's as a website where we love it as the Google map. When you search for jobs, is little pizza icons that shows all the franchisees and the actual jobs there. So we do, it's Domino's US is a bit of a mix because they've got store jobs as well as corporate, and with the different types of roles as well. So that's a bit of a mix. I think that we tend to work with organizations of large scale, but I'd say the roles that they're predominantly trying to hire are tech roles mostly. So developers, as an example, I'd say they're like hard to hire roles because there's a war for that talent. There's so many types of people out there who can do those types of roles. Hopefully that answered your question.
No, I think that definitely answers it. I appreciate it. So it looks as though we do not have any other questions, but this will be published on our YouTube channel. It'll also be going out on our newsletter as well. And so if there is any other additional questions, what would be the best way for people to reach out to you?
Yeah, of course, you can check us out on LinkedIn if you search for Happy Dance, and also obviously visit our website at happydance.love. There's an inquiry form on there, but if you're interested in a career site with us, there's also a book a demo as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And for everybody viewing the webinar, we appreciate you joining, and we will see you guys next time on our next edition of our weekly webinar series. Have a great day and a great rest of your Friday. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Bye.